Hi, I'm Megan Neville from Cleveland, Ohio, where I teach at Cuyahoga Heights High School. And I'm here today to help you review in 5 minutes or less, explaining the function of word choice, imagery, and symbols. And as I said, we have 5 minutes or less, so let's get right into it. You'll notice that I have the word function underlined here, and that's very significant. I often tell my students that one of the most important questions to consider, other than the prompt itself, is simply, so what? All right, so it's easy to notice choices of words or phrases that seem very intentional and significant, or to notice an image or to perceive a symbol. But what these things do is they make the poem more dimensional, or the piece of literature more dimensional. So it's very important to ask yourself, what is the result of that word choice? Or what's the effect of that imagery? Or how does that symbol make the literature more dimensional and make it pop off the page? So in case you need a little bit of review on what constitutes significant word choice or imagery or symbol, you're welcome to, go back and pause and look at the little bits of notes that I've put here for you. But what we really want to focus on for these few moments together is how to go from just identifying these things to figuring out the so what aspect. So it's always very important to look for patterns, repetitions, and or commonalities among these words, phrases, images, etc. And to consider what's the combined effect of these patterns on you as a reader, or on the effect of the piece of literature as a whole. So in other words, what do these literary techniques build, or what do they create? Not in isolation, but together. So keep in mind also that literary devices often pull double duty. So don't just stop short when you notice an image or a symbol, okay? Consider the fact that maybe that bit of imagery or that word choice is helping to build a simile or a metaphor or something else. Or any of these literary techniques could be adding to characterization or helping you understand the setting in a more specific way, or even doing anything else with any other part of the plot. So be more expansive than just stopping short. So here is a lovely poem by Ada Limon, which I will encourage you to pause this video and read before we move on. All right, let's say you're probably done with that by now. So here we go. This slide that you'll want to pause and look at just for a moment has several of the things that I noticed on a cursory reading of this poem. Maybe you noticed some of the same things, maybe you noticed some other things, but let's go on and see the so what of all of these things that I noticed. All right. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself to see the dimension that these things create within the poem. All right. For instance, number one, what subject does the speaker address right all before the volta? And then after the volta, what is the different subject that the speaker addresses? And furthermore, what is the speaker's tone based on the word choices towards the first subject addressed in the poem versus the second subject addressed in the poem? And then what does that change tell us about how the speaker feels about one of those things versus the other? And then for number three, how do the word choices of the last line create a contrast that then goes on to reinforce the main point of the whole poem? And how could the setting be interpreted as a symbol? Is it a conventional symbol or purely a literary one? And either way, what does this contribute to the meaning of the poem as a whole, as you interpret it? And then is there anything in this poem that could create some ambiguity, right? There's both literal and figurative meaning in a lot of this poem. So where could there be some things that are open to interpretation, in other words? So I encourage you to try to answer all of these questions either on your own or maybe with a classmate that you're preparing for the exam with. But have some fun and dig around and see what you come up with. I'm not going to give you the answers in case you're thinking they're on the next slide, because this is about you and your experience, not me. So unfortunately, our time together is coming to a close, but I do want to offer you these three more poems: Facing It by Yusuf Komunyakaa, The Leash, also by Ada Limon, and Mending Wall by Robert Frost. In case you want a little bit more practice with this, or if you just want to treat yourself to a little bit more excellent poetry to read. So overall, thank you and good luck. I hope your experience with the AP exam goes well, and then even more importantly, that everything after that goes well. I hope you've enjoyed taking AP Literature and Composition this year, and that you live a richer life for have taken the course. Take care.